So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are watching from. This is Mirror African Diaspora, live on Facebook. You are welcome to today's program. You are highly welcome from everywhere, from every part of the world. This is Mirror African Diaspora, live on Facebook. Today we are going to talk about the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, if it is in limbo or if it is going to actually take place. So on this note, we are going to have our guests, our usual guests are going to be there, Mazi, Anguzie, and Mazi Ndo. So, and apart from these two persons, we are having another guest today, Mr. Austin. I think the surname is Chika. Am I correct? Chika, can you hear me? Hello? Unmute yourself, please, Mr. Chika. Can you hear me? I think he's having problem unmuting himself. Let's see what's going to happen. Unmute yourself, please. Yes, that's it. Unmute yourself. Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay, I think he's having a little bit problem, but we're gonna solve it. He's still muted. You are still muted. And yes. Welcome, Mazi Ezeruom. You are highly welcome. Can you hear me, Mazi Ezeruom? Infinix Note 10. Hello?
Yeah.
Mazi Ezeruom, can you hear me? I'm trying to help Chika unmute himself. Chika, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very well, thank you very much. And we have on another guest here, Mazi Ezeruom. So Mazi Ezeruom, you can hear me clearly, right? Hello? Can you hear me, Mazi Ezeruom? So, Chika, we have to wait a bit. We still have two other guests. I think they will be there any moment from now so that we start at once. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you very much for coming, Chika. I mean, after talking to you, I was grateful that you accepted my invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. So, Mazi Ezeruom, can you hear me? You still
clearly.
Oh, very well. So now we still have Mazi Anguzie and Mazi George yet to come, but we can start because yes, we agreed 8 p.m. European time, and it's 8 p.m. right some minutes after the 8 p.m. So we are starting, and then if the two gentlemen come, then I will admit them. So the question is this: the topic today is about the trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If this is in limbo or if he's actually going to be tried. There are reasons for making this statement. And one of the reasons is that, or because of what happened last time when he was supposed to appear in court and he was never presented by the Nigerian authority. And the reason they gave for such, for not presenting him is, they said, is because of some technical reasons. That means that they have a problem with transportation and all this and all that. This excuse has been refuted by Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, and they think it is absolutely nonsense what the Nigerian government said. However, there is an upcoming trial, and the question now is, are they going to bring him, because a lot of people, both international and local, are expecting his appearance in the court. And then the way things look like, we don't know what is going to happen. So we would like to discuss this issue today. We are not going to be more like prophets. We are going to go into analysis and look into the circumstance that make us, or can make someone think that he's not going to be presented, or that he will be presented to the court. So the circumstance so far, as we know, is that Nnamdi Kanu is a high-profile personality in the Nigerian, Nigerian government discussion. Based on his role so far in the Biafran agitation, I think he is one thing that has happened to Nigerian government because of his Radio Biafra, which he has used to lambast them, which he has used to sensitize a lot of Biafran. Today, a lot of Biafran could just sit at home even when they are not forced to do so because of the awareness which Nnamdi Kanu has created. Now, the question is, I would like to start with you, Chika. Let me start with you. We don't have we would have liked to have, for example, Nnamdi Kanu's attorney, Ejiofor, to ask him question about this presentation. But unfortunately, he's not there. But we will have to continue. We have to do what we can do. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to be presented, or is he going to be in limbo?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robinson, for getting me here. In the first place, very, very important, I establish a fact before proceeding to the question. I'm speaking on individual capacity, not as the movement, which is indigenous people of Biafra. I'm speaking as Chika Austin, as an individual person. And that I expect both your platform and our viewers to see it from that angle. Having said that, the question you asked, I think, is something one cannot really give a clear submission on it, considering the fact that if you listen from the side of the legal representatives of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, you see there is high hope on that the government is going to do the needful by providing Nnamdi Kanu come 21st of this month. Okay, then you also look at the side of the government, because these are the two parties in question, and these are two sources of information. By the time we look at various oral submissions of the two parties or the two divides, we can now build our inferences here. So what am I trying to say? From the side of the legal representatives, we are seeing high hope that definitely that the government will do the needful. Now, on the side of the government, if we look at the antecedent, if we look at behaviors of the past, looking at the Nigerian government, one will also have a very reasonable ground to be skeptical on believing that the Nigerian government will provide Nnsmdi Kanu on that very day. But all things being equal, I think the main issues I think that the government is facing in this case is that the actions they took, which is the rendition against international treaties and norms, seem to be backfiring. Because if you look at the period of the rendition, the period of celebration of that act, especially by the office of the AGM, Malami, and the post period of rendition, as at the time they told us he was kidnapped in Kenya, and we look at the celebrations and everything, tracing that period to now, you find out that it looks as if, not just it looks as if, I have a high sense of submission to say here that it looks the government themselves are no longer finding it worth to market the idea of we've got Nnsmdi Kanu and the whole issue has been, nixed. So if we also further in looking at that on the side of a kind of self-shooting here, one shooting himself on the foot, looking at the actions of the government, we can as well say the government will do everything possible to see how to save her image in the whole Shinigan action. Because if you look at the little period of celebration of the rendition and what is happening currently, you find out that I think the worst decision the government took is that decision, as far as I'm concerned. So they might decide to bring him to court. They might decide also not to bring him to court. That is not most important to me. But what I'm trying to look into as a person, as an individual person, is the fact, how far has their action helped them? Because actions should be targeted at result. Every action should be result-oriented. But when you look at the action of adopting Nnsmdi Kanu in Kenya, bringing him to Nigeria, and the subsequent events, you can agree with me that, in fact, it is hard time the government should look for, even though it's not official channels, to resolve this issue, because Nnsmdi Kanu is now an embodiment of nationhood. He is now personifying millions of minds, and such a person ought to be, handled with high level of carefulness and strategy.
Okay, thank you very much. You just touched the most important issues here, which is the result or the repercussion of the action of the federal government. The action seems to have elevated Nnsmdi Kanu more than, he has been elevated, but he has become more, his position in the international level has become more pronounced, if you will. Previously, it seems it was more or less a discussion between the Nigerian government and the IPOB, local units, and so on. But today, there is more international interest in the case of Nnsmdi Kanu, and the government of today cannot shy away, cannot hide this naked fact that Nnsmdi Kanu has become even more important on the international level. So that is the point you've just mentioned now. And you also touched the issue of the image of the government trying to save their image. And if they want to do so, then they are going to be compelled to bring Nnsmdi Kanu to court, at least to show that there is still an atom of judiciary recognition of judiciary in the government of the day. So all these things are still what we're going to talk about. If there is, how is the Nigerian judiciary? How is it effective? How does it affect the life of the common man? We know about the case of Chiwetalo Ago, the renowned Nollywood actor. We know about all other shenanigans going on in the, intimidations going on in the eastern part of the country. And we know that not only the IPOB has come out to criticize or cry wolf, but also some recognized media in the country, Nigeria, has been speaking against the behavior of the Nigerian military. So all these are things we are going to touch around. Thank you very much, Austin, for this opening ground that you did so well. Now I would like to come to the next point, which is how prepared, the IPOB so far have been doing some legal actions, even going to suing the Kenyan government and every other thing. There are a lot of allegations levied against Nnsmdi Kanu, allegations bordering on criminal acts and incitement of terror actions and so on, and then even that issue of jumping bail. While we ponder on the case whether the trial is going to take place or not, I would like to use this opportunity to ask you guys, what do you think about these cases levied against Nnamdi Kanu? If Nigerian government, the question is, are they going to go ahead and try to justify this case, even though the ground on which they are going to operate is against the law? That is extraordinary rendition. This is an important discussion going on in many media. The question now is, first of all, the IPOB organization, they are aware of the government stronghold. The strength of the government. They can kick against the law if they want. They can tell you they are not bringing Nnamdi Kanu to court because of security reasons. What is going to happen if it's not brought to court? What can the IPOBs do? Mazi Amuzie.
First of all, I thank all the whole viewers, and then I thank also my fellow panels, and then I thank each and everybody that have made this today's broadcast to be a successful one. And first of all, there is IPOB have made their stand, and they have issued for even before the beginning of October, the Directorate of State have announced, and they have made, IPOB have made their stand on 20th, from 20th. If the Nigerian government failed to bring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to court, that they would take an action, which action includes 1 month total lockdown. And from that 1 month, it might even extend till indefinitely. So it's an action that Nigerian government must also consider if they can be able to bear the consequences, because we are talking about an action that have the capacity of grounding the Nigerian economy. So that is the very first thing that Nigerians should consider, because if the entire and men looking at what is happening in Nigeria now, we also heard that last time that even the Arewa youth now have begun to voice out, because trying to discourage other part of the Nigerians that are now want to join the IPOB for this seat at home. So we are talking about a strategy that is not going to only hurt, that is not going to only be observed in the eastern part of Nigeria. It might be observed also in the west, and then also in the middle belt, and then also some part of the north. Because when we are talking about this injustice that is going on in Nigeria, it is affecting each and every one. So anybody that is against the type of tyranny government that Nigeria is running at the moment, I mean, every human rights activist will probably join voluntarily to exercise such kind of to participate in such kind of exercise. That is what we are talking about here.
Okay, all right. Mazi Amuze, you think?
I'm listening.
Yes, you are somehow muted. I don't understand. Seems to be muted. Let me see why you are not audible from my side. Can you unmute yourself now? Yes.
Oh, I'm not muted.
All right. Okay. So this is the case. You think that you have the opinion that the IPOB, they have a pressure too, which is the sit at home. They are going to impose sit at home, which is going to affect the economy, the Nigerian economy. And that is a tool they're going to use against the Nigerian government, right?
Definitely, we have already experienced it.
Okay. You also said that there is the tendency that other ethnic groups or other ethnies, such as the Arewa, the Tiv, although you did not mention the Tiv, but I read it when they were cautioned, the Middle Belt, sorry, not the Tiv. The Middle Belt have been cautioned by the Arewa group not to join the IPOB imposed sit at home. All right. The issue is this. We know from historical point of view that the Tiv perhaps have been having misunderstanding. They have been having conflict since 18th century and even during the time of colonization. And there has been consequent discussions or issues between the Tiv and the Northern Kakus. Even what is it? The prominent, one of the most prominent person in the Northern politic, Sadwana, has actually made a case with the Tiv. I think that was around 1957 when there was a kind of a politics that did not balance well, when Awolowo actually incited the Tivs to not to listen to what Sadwana is saying. He did not take it lightly with the Tiv then. And even before then, there have been always a conflict between the Tiv and the North. The only thing that actually brought them together was the Biafran War, which they joined hand together to fight. But today, I would like to say that things are no longer at ease. A lot of things are happening. Nevertheless, it is still, we still have to wait if the Middle Belt will ever join the Biafrans in sit at home. If that will happen, then it's going to be perhaps the most serious thing or serious case the Northerners are going to face. Now, for us to go further, I would like to know, Mazi Ezeruom, this is a case not just about Biafrans, but also about the whole Nigerian. The issue that has made Biafrans become agitated, that has brought the issue of Biafran agitation, has to do with self-determination, self-reliance, self-determination that is going on across the nation. There is agitation even from Oduduwa, and then there is also this Middle Belt, which Amuze has mentioned. Do you think that the Oduduwa and at least the Oduduwa, do you think they are going to join the Biafrans? And if they do, what do you think the government is going to do on that?
Well, for me, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, for me, what I've seen so far in the Nigeria system of governance and all that, I see that there is an agenda, a kind of a Fulani agenda to conquer other tribes, you know. So that agenda is taken seriously by them, and it didn't start now. It has been for years. So right now, what we're seeing right now is just what has been on ground is just playing up. And there's nothing we can do about it than to stand and resist them. Because number one, you're talking about the Arewa, you're talking about the Oduduwa, you're talking about the Biafrans. All of these people, they are in the same situation of being conquered by the Fulani. And there is nothing they can do but to push back. You understand? Let me just leave the issue of Nigeria so that I can, because right now I'm in Catalonia, you know. In Catalan, the Catalan people, they are just like the Igbo. They have some kind of similarities with the Igbos. And when you look into their history also, they have this sort of marginalization that they feel about them, you know, paying more when it comes to taxing. The government tax them more. They inflate a lot of their bills, and they don't even have any benefits, like social benefits or whatever. They don't have. But other regions that are not even providing for the country that is making Spain who they are, those countries are getting benefit. So at a point when we have the president, just like this Buhari of a man now, sorry to say, His Excellency Mohamed Buhari, in Spain, we used to have who they call Rajoy. Rajoy was the president of Spain. When the Catalan people decided to separate themselves from the Spanish territory and become a country of their own, when they were discussing, they tried to talk with the president, which, you know, Spain has 17 regional countries inside that makes it a country.
States.
When they wanted to leave, at a point, the president didn't want to speak or talk with the Catalan people. He was like, no, he's not going to talk. Maybe it's ego problem or incompetency in leadership. I don't know what to target, but it finally played off. Then the Catalan president, which is like the Nnsmdi Kanu right now, decided to like, okay, fine. If you're not ready to speak with us, because this is what my people actually want, then we're going to do a referendum. That was
what talking about puts them on, right?
Put them on, yeah. So they now say, okay, fine, they want to put up their own referendum. And they put up a referendum. And this referendum was being tagged as illegal, just like what the Nigerian government is doing to the IPOB. The IPOB is a registered organization, but has been tagged a terrorist organization just to get it down, just to make sure they frustrate the effort of these people, you know. So at the end of the day, they now made the referendum. It was legal, it was clear, and the Catalan people voted out of Spain. What now happened? The same man that refused to talk, to dialogue with them, now begin to send armies and people towards Puigdemont. Then he escaped and he ran to exile. Now Puigdemont is in exile. You know, they are trying all their best to get him from Belgium, or maybe right now he's in Italy. But at the end of everything, Puigdemont is not in Spain, because there is a kind of European Union that has a way of coming into affairs of countries in the continent. But Africa, this is what we lack. We are not going to remain or rely on the Africa Union, because they are not doing anything. They are the same. The Ghana, all the African leaders, they are almost the same. So they defend their evil doings. So that's the problem right now. IPOB must stand firm and resist every plan of the Fulani to conquer the Igbos. And this is exactly what is happening right now. So if care is not taken, they will succeed. They are intimidating us. They are doing everything to shut down our voice and not make the world hear us. And I think the Nnamdi Kanu trial, to me, is nothing but a trial that has already failed and the government knows. So what are they doing?
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Austin, do you think Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to get a fair trial if this trial takes place?
Not possible.
Okay. On that, the truth remains that
on 21st, it's almost there.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sure.
The truth remains. In principle, we do say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. That is in principle. But if you look at some historical antecedents, if you look at activities of the past, you can as well have relative confidence on the judiciary, considering the fact that when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was also arrested sometime in 2015, despite all efforts of the government to intimidate him through the instrumentality of the judiciary stood firm. Justice Yakobita, who is still currently handling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case, was harassed, intimidated, a lot of corruption cases invoked against the husband and the son. There were several efforts to get the judiciary do the bid of the executive. We saw a relative confidence because at the end of it all, the judiciary, gave credence to the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there is a judicial pronouncement, a Nigerian judiciary pronouncement that IPOB is not a terrorist organization. There is also a judicial pronouncement that awarded, this is even a current pronouncement, that awarded damages against Nigerian state, Nigerian police, which is an agency of the government, 50 million naira damages against one of IPOB member that was, a lady that was kidnapped and dehumanized. Though the police has not honored that pronouncement. So if we look at some of that actions of the judiciary, we have seen cases where Nigerian judiciary had come out openly and stood on their ground and they looked at law and also pronounce what ought to be done objectively. But on the other way of speaking, if we're also going to consider the current compositions inherent in Nigerian judiciary system, looking at the person of Malami, who is the AGF, looking at so many utterances he has been making, and a lot of presumption. Remember, Nigeria practices common law, and by common law, assumption does not convict someone. When you accuse somebody, it's assumed that the person is innocent until when a competent court proves that the person is not innocent. But in these cases, we have seen several occasions where there have been a media trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where people, government-sponsored individuals coming on media trying to jail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu even when he has not appeared in court. So when you look at some of the actions, behind camera actions of the government, you will also have reason to be highly skeptical if the judiciary will not be influenced. But I want us to understand something. It doesn't matter the position of the judiciary eventually. What is most important here that each and every one of us should take home with is this. History has never told us, there is nowhere history has pointed to us that the oppressors always have their ways perpetually. Make no mistake about that. Hello, am I still coming?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on. I'm just showing the picture.
Good. So history has always pointed to the fact that those who sought for freedom, whether you're going to call them the Jews under Nazist oppression, whether you're going to call it the South African under the apartheid regime, whether you're going to call it the South Sudanese under old Sudan subjugation, no matter the nomenclature you're giving to it, history has always made us to understand this fact that though it might be hard for the oppressed, though it might be difficult, the instrumentality of the oppressor might be so heavy, eventually the oppressed, when they remain consistent and resolute, they will always have their ways. So what is most important is here, what is the psychological disposition of the Biafran people? And by extension, IPOB. IPOB has proven in course of her years of existence, IPOB has proven that she's not ready to jettison the idea for self-determination. Not today, not tomorrow, not forever. So when you have such sophisticated mental disposition, it amounts to self-destruction for you to believe that when you now apply the instrument of state naked power, then you will just get them overboard the idea. It makes no sense. So anybody can use, whether you use the executive, whether you use the legislative arm, whether you use the judiciary against Nnsmdi Kanu. One thing is undeniable here, that Nnsmdi Kanu, in face of threats, in face of psychological tortures, in face of offers, he still remains mentally strong. So when you have such an individual standing before you, you should understand that the instrument of naked power or application of state, oppressive mechanisms, that these are not going to work. So I believe, looking at some of the actions of the judiciary, as I earlier pointed in the past, I still believe that Nigerian judiciary still have people with soul, still have people who could look at the law, not an individual who is on the executive arm. So let me not give them that absolute rating, saying they are going to do the needful, looking at the law, because the truth remains that what is Nnsmdi Kanu asking for? Self-determination. And is a universe. Nigeria is a signatory to international charters on right of the indigenous people. So you see, the problem is that we are trying to have a reconstruction, re-engineering of the intent. And this is a criminal action. Because if you ask yourself, what is this man asking for? He's asking for the right to live. Just the way the British people are enjoying it, just the way any part of the world, the indigenous populations are enjoying it. And he's asking that his people should also be given that right to live. So if you are not trying to say because he's asking for that, and you say he's a terrorist, you say he's committing what is it called? There's this common terms. Whenever you are in opposite ideological dimension with government, there's this term they call it. They sell a treasonable felon. It doesn't matter the tagging. Right. We must understand that those who are here before us, we are also tagged the same.
All right.
There was a time the ANC in South Africa was proscribed. The Nazist Germans proscribed the Jews.
We will still come back to this aspect of your story. Thank you very much. Now, you have actually touched a lot of areas, especially the issue of injustice and the rights of the right for self-determination as a predominant, as an essence of mankind, which Nigerian is signatory to, as a principle recognized by the United Nations, which Nigeria is signatory to, even though Nigeria do not have the right for referendum inscribed in their constitution. Nevertheless,
sorry for cutting you in there. That has really been an issue of argument. Some people are saying Nigeria cannot conduct referendum when it's not enshrined in our constitution. But are you aware that even the creation of Midwest, as quoted by Barrister Aloy recently, there was a referendum, even when referendum was not embedded in Nigerian constitution of that time. So it was applied based on the principle of necessity. Do you understand me? Take for instance, you cannot tell me, let me invoke a recent issue. You cannot tell me because America does not have any section of our constitution that encourages her to pull out of a country when the war is against that, because Joe Biden voted out that what the action of the president of the United States, despite that there is no section of United States Constitution that encourages hasty pulling out, that is now ultra virus. No.
Okay. I think the question should have actually been, why is that not in the Constitution? That should have been the question. And that is perhaps what makes the Constitution sound more like a scam, as people continue to say. The Constitution of 1999 is said to have been, degraded to scam. And it seems that this absence of referendum seems to be one of the reasons, because you cannot be a signatory to United Nations and then deprive people a principle, one of the most important principles of United Nations. It doesn't make sense. However, we will still come to that. Thank you very much, Austin. Now, the Biafrans are highly spirited. They have the sit at home as an instrument of pressure or of power to make Nigerian government rethink in everything they're doing. Nevertheless, we must admit the fact that the intimidation, which, if you will, you can say that that is essentially what happened to Nnsmdi Kanu on that fateful day, that he was arraigned in front of the Nigerian television by the Minister of Justice, Malami, presenting Nnsmdi Kanu almost like a criminal, like a boy, hands on the neck, and launched into a harangue in the Hausa language, and started giving a speech, which actually was discussed in many medias in the country, discussing the essence of speaking Hausa, and going into Hausa language when it has to do with the national stuff. That actually sold or revealed the real idea behind that seems to have revealed the real idea behind the Nigerian and the Buhari government, that it is not about the Nigerians, but about the Fulani. Because switching into Hausa seems that you are not ruling the whole nation, but a specific group of people. Now, this intimidation has continued to go on, and the symbol, the Alain Nnsmdi Kanu on that day on handcuff, and it was more or less symbolic. It's if you want to give analysis of that, what the meaning of that representation, you can call it that. You can say that that was the day the whole Biafrans were handcuffed. The whole Biafrans were handcuffed. One can see from that point of view. We must also understand that actually what led to the Biafran War of 1967, or what led to Ojukwu to declare Biafra, was the intimidation that happens at the time, the killing, the pogrom, and the rape and the empowering of women with women's pregnancy that took place in the north or took place across the country. Those are the things that led to Ojukwu declaring Biafra. Biafra was supposed to be a safe place for those that are being hunted across the country. And now it's very sad to say that this intimidation has not abated. On the contrary, it has continued. We witnessed that in the case of Chuetalo, that the Nollywood star that has been humiliated and manhandled and by the Nigerian military. Mazindo, what do you say about that incident?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I must apologize for joining late. There was an issue that came up. I greet all of you. I greet the viewers. It is actually sad that, to witness such brazen intimidation. The film legend was out on the street just doing his own thing. I couldn't understand how the Nigerian army, not even the police, armies are supposed to be called in when there is, a state of emergency or when there is a threat to the, country's security, to the national peace. So such civil matters are actually the duty of the police, to police the civil society. So it makes it very, very questionable on the activities of, the Nigerian government, especially towards the agitation and quest to govern oneself. It is sad, but I've gathered that the man has been released. There was also another flying news that he was arrested again, but I don't know. But my overall statement that it was sad, a dent to the image of the Nigerian society at large, to the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of association, and so on. We are, yet to see what their attitude will be on the 21st by the trial of Nnsmdi Kanu. One good thing there is that the society, the Nigerian populace has, are now coming to reality, coming to terms with the reality, I think the young man was singing it like a song. People did not truly understand his modus operandi, his formula, until it's dawned on people, not just the Biafra land, the Middle Beltans, the Yorubas, even the Northerners themselves, the original inhabitants of places that have been displaced. So we are yet to see. I guess I will be optimistic. I don't think that they will keep on making this mistake or not listening to people. Like we all know, the voice of the people is the voice of God. If people are no longer comfortable with the union, intimidation, harassment, and killing can actually not solve the problem,
Okay. Let me show you guys one video and then we'll talk about it. It should be
the arrest of popular Nollywood actor Chinwetalo Agu on Thursday by the Nigerian army for allegedly supporting the indigenous people of Biafra has caused outrage among many Nigerians and the Nollywood industry. The army spokesperson Onyema Nwachukwu, while detailing the reason for the actor's arrest, accused him of inciting members of the public and soliciting for the support of the indigenous people of Biafra because he was dressed in a very well-known attire of the group. Nwachukwu also claimed that the actor was not assaulted or subjected to brutalization during the arrest, as it has been reported in the news. Well, let's take a quick look at this footage of his alleged arrest before we come back for a discussion.
Okay.
I mean, Rufai, what does that look like to you?
We are not gonna. They are not gonna do the analysis for us. We're gonna do it for ourselves. So now,
man.
Wait, please. Don't be too fast. What I want to ask you guys now is this. We are talking about being optimistic. We're also talking about not just being optimistic, but about fair trial for Nnamdi Kanu. We're also talking about that it's dawning on them. It's dawning on the rest of the tribes, rest of the people, that the Fulani conquistador interest is obvious. Wow. I don't think, to be honest, I don't even know how to address this issue, because one thing is certain. There is the Igbo word, the pidgin word that say, who no go no. You know, this thing has been happening for a very long time. It seems it has always concerned the IPOB or the Igbos, but I think currently it's every man's issue. I am going to say this. In the past days, this very news outlet, that is Arise, I'm sorry, there has always been very difficult in addressing the IPOB or the Biafran issue. But this time around, they are very, very unbiased in their report. I must give them credit. I have never had them report so wonderfully like this. And that's what I'm saying, that it is dawning on them. Who no go no. Because you can't continue to be biased in your report. And one day, it's going to be your turn. Because what is happening to Chuetelo, it's an obvious dismantling of judiciary. You mentioned it, Mazendo. How can you send a military on a civil case? The man does not threaten the unity of Nigeria, as the government have claimed. So my question is, I want to let Mazi Ezerom, I would like you to tell us, because this is your specialization, the Nollywood. What do you think Mazi Chuetelo was he demonstrating, or was he more or less in another film production? Because there was a car, a bus there. I don't know if you guys noticed it. There was a bus. He kept there. He wrote something like his name or whatsoever. And it seems he was in a kind of film production altogether. What do you say, Mazi Room?
Yeah, according to the information from one of our Nollywood actresses, I can't remember her name right now, but she actually said Mr. Chuetelagu was actually coming from our location after shoot, and Chuetelagu himself has this bus as his private car that he has a registered name. He runs a legit company in Nigeria, and he has been paying his tax and his dues. So at this point, he said he went to Opiwika to show love to certain people that actually needed it, because apart from being a Nollywood actor, he's a Biafran.
Wait, excuse me. Was he doing a demonstration? Was he producing a movie, or what was he doing with the Biafran clothes?
No, you don't have. You cannot say he's doing anything with the Biafran.
Wait. Excuse me. It is very. Let's just.
I want to say something because you cannot ask a question that implicates someone, and it is not the right question, because this thing is this. He is not wearing a Biafra flag. It may have the Biafra color. If I'm wearing green, white, green, does that mean that I'm wearing Nigeria flag or Nigeria whatever? No, I'm just talking. I'm talking, and it's the truth.
Oh well. Okay. Let me ask another person before I get to the point I'm trying to make. Let me leave it there. Mazi Ahuziem, What's
Yeah.
your point? My
Yes.
question, what was he doing with the Biafran cloth? Was he demonstrating? Was he on a mission for a video production? What was he doing?
Let's say from the report, first of all, the color that he was wearing, we cannot. This is first of all. Let's correct this impression. That color is African. Anybody who knows about Pan-Africanism, you know about African, you know about everything. You know that is first of all. That is first of all the color of the Pan-Africanism. So now, whatsoever that he was on the road, according to the report and according to even the testimony that he said, he was distributing arms, he was distributing bread, he was distributing, reaching out to the less privileged in the street. So, and then before he had the army came to dehumanize him. Let me put it in that way. So that is what that is.
I wanna comment there.
Excuse me, Mazendo. Please, you were coming. I want to ask Austin too what he thinks, because we are talking about symbol. We are talking about semiotic. Semiotic is an essential aspect of life, that if I move a finger, I'm not just moving a finger, I am giving you a sign. And you might misunderstand this sign, you might understand it, and that is where the miscommunication takes place. Is this a miscommunication, Austin, or?
Okay. Let me, the problem, I think the challenge we have in most cases, especially, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
The challenge we have, especially when issue of Nigeria comes up, is people going out of logic, rational thinking to emotions and sentiment. And that has really been a very strong disservice.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time, I always like pointing to references. The reason why I point to references is because it's a backbone. So if somebody putting on such regalia means he's a threat to Nigeria, even when he's not armed. We have cases when Buratai was the chief of army staff, because we are not talking about if we are going to say whatever you put on symbolizes association. Now, there was a time when Buratai was the chief of army staff. He brought to Asrock, the seat of power, Nigeria's seat of power, the flag of ISIS to Nigeria's seat of power.
And nothing happened to him.
And the president, not Buratai only, Buratai transported it. And him and the president of Nigeria took a national picture with that. Now, let us argue further. Will you not say to me, because some other persons might come and say, they were showing how they defeated ISIS or Boko Haram, blah, blah, blah. Now, show me instance where any world president, where America has defeated, let me say, Al-Qaeda or Al-Shabaab in Somalia, and they came to Oval Office or came to White House and took a picture with their flag or anything that is associated with these people they defeated. So if Chiwetaragu was to be, or is to be punished for wearing a Biafran representation, now mind you, what they prescribed, which yet does not have judicial endorsement on that based on what Constitution says. But if we're not going to go by their prescription joke, mantra, and all the rest of them, what they prescribed is the movement, the indigenous people of Biafra, not Biafran flag.
That's true. That's true.
Am I correct?
Yes, of course.
So, and mind you also, the Yoruba people have their national flag, their national symbols. The Ariwas have their national symbols. Same applies to every ethnic composition in Nigeria. So why is this hysteria outburst when it comes to the identity of Igbo man and by extension Biafra? So if Chiwetala was to be bullied because he wore a Biafran regalia, which does not have any prescription on it, Buratai and Buhari, who took ISWAP symbol to Asoro, should have been cooling their head in jail.
Okay. Going by what you guys have said, there is a whole lot of injustice in the action of the Nigerian government, and even the people from Arise Television has made it clear. So the question is, I wanted to see if there is a way of seeing the action of the young man as unjustifiable, because you just said it. I'm talking to you, Osin, that there is no, that Biafran flag was not proscribed. Even if you wear it as a Biafran legaria or whatsoever, he should not be humiliated for that reason, because it is his right to wear whatsoever he wants to wear, in as much as we still have the freedom of expression in this country, in that country, Nigeria. And then, so it is actually an extension of the humiliation. One can say that it is the same humiliation that was meted on Nnsmdi Kanu that has continued, that is extended to him now. I mean, if the king of the Biafra was caught hands from the neck, what is a Nollywood actor? He is still going to go face the same treatment. Now, I wanted to ask you, Mazi Ezeruem, are you still with us? All right. I don't know what I should do now, if I should turn it off. Okay, no problem.
The guy is catching his phone.
All right. Well, Mazindo, it's very unfortunate, but then go on and make your point concerning this issue. I wanted to ask him a question because of the Hollywood something, but then he's not there. So go on and make your statement. Sorry.
What I had wanted to say is that, you know, the issue of Biafra has become an ideology. And these are one of the essence of our being, for our beingness, you know. So there is actually no reason for such humiliation. The Nollywood actor Chiwetala has every right to put on those regalia. Of course, he identifies himself as a Biafran. But the problem is that at the mention of Biafra, you know, the Nigerian establishment is jittery. The British who ordained the, you know, the amalgamation is also jittery. So what you're seeing is this arranged, you know, subjugation or intimidation You know, that is the only explanation for that. And to crown it all, it was done by, you know, the army. I mean, there is no justification, there is no reason, if not to, push a people into submission or to instill fear into a people.
So,
I wanted to add something because I was saying something before you.
But please make it briefly. We want to move to another discussion.
Yes, just briefly. I want to say something. You see, when it comes to the Biafran flag, I will repeat it and repeat it again. If you I mean, for Nigerian army, even Nigerian by themselves that believes in Africa, that says that they are part of Africa, and then dehumanizing the African flag, it is also it's unacceptable.
Okay.
It's unacceptable.
Okay.
It's really not acceptable. So we should make this point. We should state this fact also categorically straight.
Okay. Now I asked the question. Why? What was he doing when he was putting on this clothes? Let me show you why I asked the question, gentlemen. Okay. Let's watch this video and I will explain to you why I asked that question. Because, okay, let's just watch the video first.
No, I can wear this. My vehicle is parked at the center of office. No worry, that one. Hold on. So, this is rising. This is sun. This is rising sun. Not Biafra. I can wear this. My vehicle is parked at the center.
Are you guys seeing it?
Don't worry, that one. So, this is my education. I know.
Can you guys see clearly?
This is sun.
Yes.
All right. Please pay attention to his justification of his action. It's very important for our discussion.
My education, I know areas to go, areas not to react to the facts. Me, I believe that
no, 30 minutes. Gather people. No, 30 minutes. Gather people.
I was buying bread, 10,000 bread, sharing the one on this way. No campaign, nothing. Sharing bread, 10,000 worth of bread. When they came, nobody was doing demonstration or carrying people out. I was buying bread, 10,000 bread, sharing the one on this way. No campaign, nothing. Sharing bread, 10,000 worth.
Okay. You guys heard it? He said he was buying bread.
He was sharing bread, not
wait. Sorry?
He was sharing bread.
Yes, he said he was sharing bread. He wasn't doing any campaign. Now, it might sound plausible, the argument. My question now is it necessary? Do I have to justify why I'm wearing a cloth I so much want to wear? I don't think you get the point here.
There is every reason for him to justify it. Let's just be very, very direct. The man he's a Biafran.
Yes.
And he is demonstrating his Biafran-ness.
Yeah, now you are missing the point, Nnsmdi. Then you don't have to justify it because it is your right to wear the cloth. I think we are talking at cross purposes now.
Yes. You're making a
yes. No,
okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. Don't worry. Let's see it this way. You have the right as a human being, okay, to wear a cloth in Germany, even the military clothes. You are in Germany. I know you have seen you, Nnsmdi, with your military clothes, and nobody has ever molested you. So when Chiwetelago wears that of Biafra, why do he has to be why should he be molested? And after being molested, now he has to justify his action. When you are justifying your action, that means you have been reduced. Your essence of human being has been reduced. You don't have to justify your action. You have the right to wear whatever you want to wear.
I need to explain.
Austin, what do you think?
Well,
Talking about the justification of action.
well, if you're out of the political disaster British created, aka Nigeria, you might not really understand the level of degradation and mental, reductions a lot of people have been going through. Remember, these are agencies of government or agents of government that have a lot of records of extrajudicial killings. So when a man is under duress, even in law, you don't admit testimony that was taken under duress, mind you. So Chiwe Tarago was in a situation where if you look at the video, you find out that everyone around him was well armed. And based on what Nigerian military arm is known for, according to a lot of records by Amnesty International, by UN Human Rights Watch, and even undocumented ones, they might have wasted him and
he could have been killed. He could have been killed. That's what I said.
I'm using their word. The word wasting is a common, is the addiction. That is the addiction. That is how they describe.
Now, thank you. Let me now go back to Nnsmdi, because I think we were talking at cross question. Maybe we will start getting each other. The point is clear. I was being more or less ironical in my assertion. Now, if I am pushed, if I'm threatened, if it is a heightened situation, I become agitated. I can even lie of the things that I do. That is what it shows that the situation is worse. When you cannot say the truth again, when you are afraid of your life, when you cannot, I mean, look at what he started talking like a child. I was sharing bread. It's not necessary. That shows you the circumstance of his mental, where he has been reduced to behave like a child. Now, Nnsmdi, you know very much about fictions and how human being can be turned. I mean, how our soul can be reduced to the irredeemable during in a fictional world. We can just assume that Chiwe Tarago found himself in a fictional world, and the only source of escape is to tell the opposite of what he was doing. So my question now is there a way for a Biafran to survive in that country, given all this that is happening? Are you in your optimistic position?
Of course, we are going to survive. That is, Biafrans are going to survive. The most important thing is that the sensitization has reached the ends and corners of Biafra land, even to the most illiterate. Coming back to what happened to our dear actor, Mazi Chiwe Tarago, it is even sad for me as a traditionalist, seeing him with our holy red cap, sitting down, surrounded by,
that was humiliating. That was humiliating.
Yes, that was very, very humiliating. I mean, the Igbo man, the Igbo heritage, the Igbo essence has been reduced to a laughing stock. And these things happened without, people, that is also the state of Nigeria. People somehow see all this mess as an act of God, People jump up in the morning, run to churches to pray, and when they get back in the evening, they thank God for surviving. As if God is the architect of this whole scenario. If Nigerian state were to be a country that, owns up to responsibility, they have a lot of questions to ask over this single incident, for a man to be, surrounded by heavily armed military men, a well-known man just doing his own thing. It doesn't matter what he was doing. He has the right to wear whatever he's wearing, and the answers he was giving, like my co-contributor said, I mean, the man found himself between the deep blue sea and the devil.
Helpless. He was helpless.
And we all heard him repeating he was sharing 10,000 naira worth of bread.
Yeah.
It is actually sad.
Yeah, that's
it. It calls for, because the sizable number of, these Hollywood giants.
Yeah.
Also of Biafran extraction. So it's left to see, except if they are going to take it lying down. It's left to see what they are going to say about the whole agitation or the whole aid treatment.
Okay. Austin, are they going to take it lying down? Look at them. Can you see them?
Yes.
Can you guys see them?
Yes.
Are they gonna take it lying down?
Well,
or are they gonna make it worse?
Okay.
Even.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go on.
Well, let's be sincere to ourselves. In the law of helping or assistance or aid, rendering of aid, it is the better that assists the one that is lower, so to say. So, when you expect me to see these people to bail out Chiwetarago's condition, to me is unrealistic, is laughable. Why do I say so? Because technically, all these people you're seeing in this picture, they are also lying down, like Chiwetarago. They are already subjugated. These are people who are reduced in a worse state than Chiwetarago. Whether you see them on sanctimonious regalia, I'm talking about religious regalia, or Ohanese, they are all mentally bullied to submission. So a man that is already deflected does not have what it takes to inflate others. Take note of that. So that is one of the things our people, one of the side of narratives our people give. When I look at it, I laugh. When people say, can't you run to your political class? Can't you run to your sociocultural class? They can help the situation. You are running to people who are already subjugated. They are all under servitude. They are already reduced to a point that they are worse than even Almajiris. You can see Dave Umahi, for instance, begging presidency. See the governor of Imo State, while Imo State was burning, he followed the president to present the budget in National Assembly. Just psycho fancy. Let them know that his boy is even following him anywhere he goes. So let us accept that part, that indisputable fact that these mainstream fellows, these individuals you call your political class, are already reduced. Just the way the Chiwetarago was reduced. These guys are deflected. So if you trust hope on them, if you trust future on them that they are going to survey, you will end up, they will drag you to the same level they are, which is the level of mental defeat. That is all settled at which their minds are.
Let me tell you guys this little story before I will ask you a question. Mazi was here. Yes. There is a very prominent Mazi. Are you there? Mazi? Are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, we missed you actually. However, please, I would like you to pay attention to this discussion. We are talking about subjugation. We are talking about mentally reduced human being. We are talking about docile, and essentially, we are talking about lack of sense of assertiveness in the Biafran people that could actually stand for their rights and talk with one voice to redeem their image. Nobody's asking them to go against the law. But what the Northerners are doing is a different thing. They stand with one voice and make a point. That is not the case in the Biafran. On the contrary, they are more or less lapdogs of the other ones who want to conquer them, unfortunately. Now, Mazi Austin, you made a statement about those who has already been conquered, those who are already lying down, and Chiwetel Agu is essentially, if you want to put it in Nietzsche's perspective, from Nietzsche's perspective, is Chiwetel Agu the overman, actually. Nietzsche overman is not one who is docile, but one that is assertive in nature, one that can stand up and fight for that.
Okay, Mazi, I would have loved to redirect a storyline here.
Let me just finish this because I'm not sure you did understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not doubting your statement.
But actually there was a statement you made which I still have an issue with. Okay. When you say the North are united is really an old slogan.
Yes, okay. I'm sorry for that. The Easterns are also united, but they have their leaders that are giving them trouble. Their leaders, not of course, their leaders are the problem they have. If I mean, we can agree to that. Okay, the leaders, I mean, the Southern governors or the Eastern governors are the problem they have. Or do you want to say something apart from that?
Yes, I really want to, because there is this when we are analyzing the Northern cohesion from Arewanism, we get it wrong, because Arewanism is simply a false umbrella,
yes,
that in true sense does not exist. If you go to North currently, you find out that what you people are calling Northern unification is Fulani, cosmetic presentation. The Middle Belt are already looking towards South for integration. Believe you me, okay. And that is the sources of the statement, like any Northerner that closes his or her shop in solidarity with IPOB will lose his shop, because intelligence available has proven that the Middle Belt are sympathetic to the South and not even the corner. So let us not really keep on drinking on the old core.
All right.
There is nothing like Northern unification. Anybody that tells you that person is just giving you an old mantra. The reality on ground is that
Austin,
the Middle Belt are awakened.
You are right on that statement. My fault. I did not put it correctly. I'm aware of what you're saying. The idea or the concept that the North are united is what the Fulani oligarch planted in order to make themselves look bigger than they are, and they've been making use of that many years, and it has been working. But now it seems their edifacts are crumbling, or their edifacts is crumbling. And they are very much afraid of that. And that's why they will have to arrest somebody like Chiwetel Agu or abduct him, even when he did nothing, to put fear or to instill fear into the majority. Now, we're on the issue of intimidation.
Yes.
That's
where I want to speak something.
The House, there is the issue of the so-called Nigerian army or the Nigerian soldier enforcing the golden what did I call it? Golden down Operation Golden Dawn. That's why they burnt about 50 houses in Imo State. And the outcome or the effect of this action, we can agree that it's still about the same intimidation. My question now is, Anuzie,
Yeah.
if there is nothing coming from the part of Biafrans, how is this going to end? How?
Well, the thing is just like what I wanted to say, what I wanted to chip in this place is like our people, if you look at what happens, so even coming to analyze it from the situation that Chief Chinwetalagon find himself, you see that in them at that moment, it's like what this German call Ungleichgewicht situation, which means an unequal weight situation. You know, so which happens when a situation happens that a panic, you are into a panic, then you lost the feeling and then also understanding. And the only thing that remains is what in German they call it tribe. Tribe, I don't know how to put it in English, but this is exactly what is happening, what have happened with our people. So which means that our people have been so they're paralyzed with fear. People have been so paralyzed, and then in a situation
what is the way out? Sorry.
Yes. So in a situation whereby in every corner you are hearing this language, this slogan, which it have also happened to me. Point a gun on my head. I'm talking about almost 4 times, and the man stand right in my face with a gun on my head, telling me that he will waste me and nothing would happen.
Okay.
So in this kind of situation, the only thing that I think what is going to happen, that is why even them now, they have even the Fulani now, the Fulani cabals and the Fulani oligarchies are beginning to understand that the masses are now fed up of all this intimidation and all this harassment. So any solution, that is why any solution, even down to this sit at home, that the masses will seize that opportunity every slightly chance. The masses are going to take it now to take back the power.
Okay, Mazi, what's his name again? As a room. Can you hear me? As a room.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Mike, have you, I don't know if you have found all we have said here, but the question is, I will just ask the question. The intimidation, are the Biafrans going to put an end to it, or is it going to continue, the intimidation? And if it continues, where will it lead to?
You know, from my own point of view, we want to take some pictures from countries that have been able to pass through similar situation. It's going to happen in 2 ways or more, but let me just be specific on these major 2 ways. The 2 ways is one, it's going to start by one is either the government of Nigeria are ready to talk to the people of Biafra, IPOB. There is need for proper talk. You know, that's one. Or 2, this problem will continue until it becomes a tyranny stop, and people will begin to kill each other, fight each other. It's going to lead to a very big civil conflict, a very big war. Like, as in, it's either in that 2 ways, because with what I'm seeing, the Nigerian government has proven that, is on a very high ego. The ego of the Nigerian federal government is on a very high ego, is proud, not ready to speak with the people, of Biafra. And trying to shut them up is making them rise the more, making them hate the country the more, and making them see themselves as the marginalized and all that. So I think in a due time, more people are going to come up, not through the language of a man, not more stronger people may begin to come up, and at that time, it may become overwhelming for the Nigerian government to handle. So at this point, the only thing that I can say, because if you look at it from years back, you find out that Nnamdi Kanu himself, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, was not this serious about the Biafra thing. But right now, look at the level this intimidation and this fight and this whatever the government has been bringing on the table has led him to the extent that he said he's already a dead man, that the only thing that can bring him to life is Biafra. Imagine that. So many people right now are in that mode, like Nnamdi Kanu as well, and more are coming in. So the more the government try to shut them up, the more they rise. It's like fighting the vampires. So that's the situation.
Right. So
I think that's, yeah, tell me.
All right. No, it's all right. I get the point. I wanted to ask the other guys, what you've said is that there is going to be a continuation of this performance by Chiwetalago. We're going to see more of that. Yes, that's what I wanted to understand. Where are we heading to? So, Mazindo, are we going to see more of this kind of Chiwetalago? Or are people going to be petrified?
No. I think once the misrule is ongoing, resistance becomes a kind of everyday affair. We must understand that the problem is not just restricted to Biafra land. Every other ethnic group, especially those who have seen or who have been catechized to see Biafra or the Igbo man as an enemy, they have all realized that we are, if care is not taken, we will be gone off our land. So the problem is vast, except if there is a genuine will on the part of Nigeria to accommodate all these federating units, all these ethnic groups. I see the struggle going on. And we don't have to be in a haste. People who want their freedom, if it comes earlier than expected, good a thing. But history of countries or independent of countries, it's not actually an easy one. It needs steadfastness and above all,
consistency.
time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Mazi, Austin. I think we are going to the end of our question, but let me ask you this as a closing question tonight. The Biafrans, they don't have weapons. They don't have good governors or representatives that will protect them, like during the time of Ojukwu, who was able to create a safe ground. That's essentially what motivated him to create Biafra. Ojukwu wasn't out for segregation. He wanted a complete federalism. It was given the program that made him to come up with creating Biafra. So, and that this has continued, given what is happening so far. It's not different from what happened then. The Nigerian government of then, the Fulani oligarch, hasn't changed. They still want the made Biafrans to bend, seeing what is happening. They still want them to accept what they don't want to accept, that is being a slave. If this continues, it looks like the Biafrans are actually are they conquered? Let me just put it this way. Let me not be very pessimistic. Are they conquered? The first question. I want you to answer two questions. Are they conquered already, given the type of governors they have? Who can, somebody like Scopus or Demma, who is willing to sell Imo State? and Dave Umani, who wants to have the vice president and sell Biafra for it, and who has come out to tell the Biafran that they should not go out for the seat at home, because if they're out for the seat at home, they are jeopardizing their own life, because those that in diaspora are having their fun. These are his sentiments. He's trying to whip people with sentiment. Now, looking at all these things, one can actually say that the Biafra, they don't have God. They don't have good representative like Ojukwu. The Fulanis have everything they want. They have the Britons. They have the international allies. They have Nigeria as as a sovereign nation. All right. If Biafra moves to fight, are they going to fight with their finger? Nnamdi Kanu is already in the DSS custody. Aye, Jesus Christ. What is the way out for Biafrans? Mazi Austin.
Okay, thank you. You asked two questions. What is the way out, and if they are conquered? First of all, I think we have been looking at this whole development from primordial point of view. Primordial, I mean, the way it has been from 1967, which is a defensive Biafra versus offensive Nigeria. That might be accurate as at that time, but the truth remains, except one is not well schooled in the art of political science and social science by extension. If one is schooled enough, you find out that the Biafrans are now playing the offensive, the soft offensive against the Fulani. Let me tell you something we should appreciate here. In course of evolution, in course of IPOB evolving, IPOB has been able to penetrate outside Biafra land, and that is offensive. It's a soft offensive. You can have either soft offensive or hard offensive, depends on the one you choose to go. Now, IPOB has been able to not only conquer Biafran land ideologically. Mind you, the first thing you need to get whatever you want is ideological penetration. If you give one who is not conscientized gun, he cannot defend the vision. So you have to first of all impregnate a man with your vision. Then, even though you give him catapult, he will defend it with his life. What IPOB has been able to achieve, which is also the game of the Western nation, capitalism, America exported it all over the world against communism. What IPOB has marvelously achieved is to conquer the entire Biafran land and move beyond Biafran land. What you're seeing in Oduduwa land is a station, is a spillover of IPOB's campaign, because others are watching you, seeing that irrespective of government suppressive measures, you are surviving. And it's okay, we can do it. And today, there is also an underground penetration in Middle Belt. Let me tell you, people don't understand how countries collapse. If you look at it from conventional perspective, you will make it wrong. The best way to bring to an end any fictitious entity is by ideological spread. America ended USSR through ideological spread. It collapsed on its own. Those who are supposed to protect the Union got fed up, and the Union died a natural death. So, Nigerian government is still busy doing the old methodology of war, which is marshalling tanks, bringing bullets. That is outdated. Countries are defeated on ideological basis. And that is what Nnamdi Kanu has achieved, that no one before him has ever achieved that. And on the issue of way out,
yeah,
like Mr. Ando marvelously said, I appreciated the level of wit at his disposal. Let me tell you something. What we have is what we call evolution. What is going on in Biafran struggle is evolution. And what is evolution? Evolution takes time. As time is progressing, is advancing. Take note, there was a time somebody like Chiwerago cannot subscribe to Biafra issue simply because he doesn't trust those who are already on it. But what every one of us, including the governors, have learned, I was speaking with a top politician recently, and I discovered that mentally they are all subscribed to this idea. Look at what we are having in Biafran land. Take it or you leave it. What we are having in Biafran land is a hegemonic power. You know, Fulanis have their process. They don't rule you directly. They use indirect rule by imposing your people, and your people do their bidding. Now, what we are having in Biafran land is this. Those proteges, those processes of Fulanis are now feeling threatened that their hegemonic grip on the Biafran people is in question. Take it or you leave it. Even a dictator fears the end of his dictatorship. It does happen. So we are not, the struggle is not on the defensive. As far as ideological war is concerned, IPOB is on the offensive. That is why the Nigerian government, anywhere he hears IPOB, he panics. The Nigerian government is on the defensive. If they are on the offensive, they wouldn't have bothered themselves. If they are having an edge, they wouldn't. Let me also conclude here. You see, I respect Nnsmdi Kanu exceedingly much, owing to the fact that he understood what war in 21st century definition is all about. The war in 19th century, the war in 20th century are all different in terms of approach with the contemporary warfare. What Nnsmdi Kanu has laid down for you and I that nobody can surpass is building a media platform at which we now spread our information and nobody can stop it. What happened to Chiweraga? We don't know. Less than 24 hours, the Nigerian army responded simply because before they could even know what is happening, we have narrated the story according to how we want it. And they were on the defensive, trying to say that what you had earlier on the media is not, that means we are ahead of them. And no country survives sophisticated movement like that. So I don't buy the idea when people say we are on the defensive. We can be on the defensive in terms of when you're talking about application of arms, we can. Okay. No doubt. But when you talk about ideologically advancement, we are on the offensive, and the Nigerian government is the one on the defensive.
Thank you very much. Now that we've made this point, I wanted to end this discussion, but let me throw this question once again to Nnsmdi. Nnsmdi, the ideological stuff that IPOB have maintained, or they are having upper hand, well, like he has rightly put it, it's an effective one, but many young men has been kidnapped and abducted. Is that not a terrifying situation for the entire Easterners? Young men, I don't want to show their picture here, but I have it.
Of course it is. Actually, even the death of an individual is regrettable. But when you are dealing with a regime who has no regard to human life, that is what you get. But take it or leave it, I think in a fight for freedom, you are bound to encounter such collateral damages. People who want to free themselves must do what is required of them to free themselves. It's either they live as slaves or move on with the struggle to free themselves. Like I said, it's regrettable. It shouldn't have been. No life should have been lost. But, I mean, there is no, the sanctity for human life is zero. That is why the whole thing is horrifying, you know. Sometimes one sits back and begin to meditate. But then, evil cannot continue to rule forever. I must be grateful, like my brother said, the ministry of Nnsmdi Kanu has actually woken millions up. This is not just about Biafra. You know, as a pro-African activist, the subjugation is widespread in Africa. The mental or the unconventional brain surgery is widespread in Africa. You know, so that is why I think in Africa, as the saying goes, in Biafra, Africa died. And the liberation of Biafra, the Igbo man, will actually mean the ultimate liberation of Africa. So the struggle goes on, is the struggle between the good and the evil. You know, the world has been, do I say, the case of the hunter and the hunted.
Okay.
You know,
I think
you give it for the hunt.
Yes.
I think that is a word that we all can agree on. The struggle continues. I wanted to to use the issue of Nietzsche's Overman to explain what it means to be a Biafran in the context of existential philosophy. But you guys did not give me the opportunity. Perhaps we do that next time. However, we are going to have a discussion next week. I want our viewers to pay attention. It's going to be about Nollywood stuff. We are going to have a Nollywood actor, one of the prominent persons in Nollywood. We are going to have him on this platform to discuss about film, how the Nollywood affects the life of an average Nigerian, if it has been positively laid out or negative. So Mazi Ezerom, you are here in this case. You are an expert in Nollywood. We can start with you from now onwards to clear the background for next week's discussion. Nollywood, is it a mirror of the country, or is it an art? This is what I wanted to discuss about Mazi, about Chiwetalo. Chiwetalo was not essentially doing any other thing than to play his Nollywood stuff, and they ascribed it to him that he was demonstrating. However, that's by the way. So Nollywood, we are going to talk about it next week. Is it a mirror of Nigeria, a mirror of the society, or a work of art? Should we see it from that point of view? That's the
yeah. Can I talk now? What exactly, when you say Nollywood, Nollywood is supposed to be like a film industry of Nigeria.
Nollywood film. When you say Nollywood, it's a kind of acronym. People understand it as a film. Well, go on.
But if you want to look at it properly, you find out that it falls out from a means of actually telling the culture of certain people. You know, like if you look at it very well, I wouldn't say Nollywood started properly by, you know, giving wrong notions about Igbos, by telling the world that there's a way we can use somebody to do blood money and it will just happen, you know. And these things are just a way of telling stories and just to pass some information. I don't know, but maybe it's a thing of the arts, but people have taken it seriously because so many places that I've traveled to, they will tell you that you are a juju man, you know. They see Nigeria, some people even come to meet me, they were like, okay, please, I want to do some voodoo. I want to see some juju. I say, why? Because they see it in our movies and all that. So I try to convince them that it's a thing of art and culture. And, you know, sometimes movies can be taken seriously, even if it is fiction. You know, we have some stories that came out of the fictitious storytelling, and sometimes it's imaginary, sometimes it's true life story. But people have taken it seriously. So I think Nollywood has played a very serious role in adding to the value of Nigeria, and also, you know, tell a lot of people, and also, you know, take Nigeria to a higher places in the world. I think that's what Nollywood is.
It has essentially contributed positive and negative. So we're going to look into this aspect where it contributed positive and negatively in the society.
And we're going to have Mr. Ilero Tete as it is right now, is one of the top Nollywood educator in the film industry, and at the same time is playing a character in a movie, in a soap opera that runs like a soap opera. It's a series that runs in African Magic in the name of the Johnsons and family, where you have Aki and Popo and all of this stuff. So his nickname is Mr. Johnson. No, his nickname is Mr. Deputy in the Johnsons movie. So we're going to have him next week, maybe this time, you know.
Yeah, not maybe. We're going to have him. We're going to have him.
No, I mean the time.
The same time. We're always on 8 o'clock. We have made it 8 o'clock.
Okay.
8 p.m. Sorry, Mazendo.
Yes.
I thank you guys for being around tonight.
Thank you very much.
It has been a wonderful night and wonderful evening.
I couldn't conclude, but let me thank.
You will conclude next week, okay?
I said, let me thanks. It's not a problem because I appreciate to hear we are going to also have a good time with the Nollywood, more Nollywood actors, so that we can put more things. You know, there are some things that we still also we can learn from them, and also use this medium, this platform to correct some of the impression that the people are having also out there about the Nollywood industry,
about the African Nigeria, about the Igbo culture.
Yes,
that's why I was asking if it is a Nollywood narrative. Okay, let me put it this way: the Nollywood narrative, way of telling story. If it is, I think you will be okay with the word narrative. If it is a mirror of the country or an art or fiction. So next week we are going to go dissect into that discussion and try to find out what it means. Yes, we are at the end of the show today. I ask our viewers to please share our production today. Go to our YouTube and like our videos. Subscribe to Mirror African Diaspora TV MAD on our YouTube, so that you'll be notified each time we produce a new video. And then you are all welcome next week. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen. My name is Robinson Afamefuna Ambrose. I'm your moderator on this very wonderful platform, think tank, Mirror African Diaspora Germany. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you.